So I'm going to share with you on how to do research. I'm going to start with the basics, go over a little bit of citation, and then go beyond the basics in this Prezi. So follow along with me. First, you need to decide on a topic. So you do brainstorming, you look at the literature that we've covered in class, the possible topics, you can talk to your professor about it, and that should take several hours, days to land on a topic. And keep in mind that topic might change. And then you start doing some preliminary research. I do not want you to use Google or Wikipedia at this point. So I'm going to direct you to Google Scholar, to an encyclopedia, and to the library. The librarians have created several LibGuides, which are extremely helpful. Also, the databases are helpful, and especially Academic Search Complete. So in the library, I'm going to show you an example of a LibGuide. This is on religion. We have covered some religious literature in this class. We have looked at the Bhagavad Gita. We've looked at the Tao Te Ching. We have also looked at the Old and New Testament. So this religion getting started guide is extremely helpful. There are encyclopedias, academic resources. You can click on there. There are useful websites and guides and handbooks. So these are some examples of the LibGuides that you can look at. This one's on philosophy. Then you're going to start searching. You're going to search your topic. And the important thing is to change the terms that you search on. Let's say you're searching on child labor during the Victorian era. You could put child labor Victorian era. You could put England, child labor, Victorian era. Keep changing your search terms and you will get a different result every time. So then you've gotten some results. You may have gotten 5 or 500. Before you actually read the article, check out the abstract. That's going to be a short paragraph that's a summary of the article. And I'll just give you a little hint. If you don't understand the title, don't click on the article. That's kind of a hint that it's going to be a little too difficult. So when you get to the page where the article is, click on either the HTML or the JPEG PDF. It makes a difference which one you use when it comes to citation. And if you use an HTML, you do not need the page number in the citation. HTML is a web-based document. The JPEG or the PDF is going to be a scanned copy of the original, and the original pagination is there. Then you're going to peruse the article, and then if you decide that you think you want to use it, the first thing you're going to do is copy and paste the citation information into a Word document. If you find a really good quote, and you've copied and pasted the quote, and you haven't copied the citation information, and you can't find it later, you're not going to be able to use the quote. So be sure that the first thing you do is copy and paste the citation information, then copy and paste the quote, immediately put quotation marks around the quote and add the page number. Then separate each source with a heavy black line. I've learned that through trial and error. So here's an example. I've copied and pasted the citation information, copied and pasted the quote with the page number. Now, just because you've copied and pasted the citation information doesn't mean it's 100% accurate. So you still need to check it for accuracy. For example, we have the author's name et al. That's correct. The title of the article. This is the title of the journal and should be italicized. That's the volume, issue, date information, and page numbers. This should also be italicized. And for every citation, you're either going to use web or print. And if you use web, you need the date you accessed it, in addition to the date of publication. You cite your document in 2 places. One is in the essay itself, and the other one is on the Works Cited page. In the essay itself, the citation goes at the very end of the sentence in MLA. No matter where the quote is, if the quote's at the beginning or the middle, the citation always goes at the very end of the sentence in parentheses, followed by the period. Generally speaking, the in-text citation includes the author's last name and the page number. No comma, no PG, just last name, space, page number. If it's an HTML document, or if you don't have the page number, just the author's last name. You also need the information on the Works Cited page. Here's an example of one page from an essay I did in graduate school, and you can see on the second line that there is a quote incorporated into your writing, and that's what I want you to do. I don't want a quote as a standalone sentence. So you see it says, Julia Marcus suggests that Barrett Browning believed she herself had African blood through her grandfather Charles Moulton. End quote, parentheses, author's last name, space, page number, period. And farther down in the second paragraph, there are a couple of quotes. Halfway down the page, it was her father, who had before forbidden her to ever put her name to her work, who agreed to let Elizabeth B. Barrett appear on the title page. And so you see there's some of my words, then a quote, then a few more of my words, then the quote continues. This is the whole idea. You want to incorporate the quotes very smoothly into your writing. And then further down, you see all I have is the 89. If you've used the author's name and you're still quoting from the same author over and over and over again, at that point you only need the page number. So there are several examples on this page of how to incorporate quotes and how to cite it at the end. And here's a works cited page with a couple of books, a few articles, and also some primary texts. You'll notice if you have one author with more than one work, Marjorie Stone, you don't repeat her name again. You have hyphen, 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 period. That way everybody knows that it's Marjorie Stone who wrote both Between Ethics and Cursing as One of the Fine Arts. You didn't know that, did you? Also, you see an original manuscript copy, and these are handled a little differently. So there are a lot of different examples on here, and you can look at that for how to do a works cited page. Please note also that works cited at the top is not highlighted, it's not bold, it's not italicized, it's not underlined. Same font, just centered on the page. You organize the citations by the author's last name, and the only author that goes last name, first name is the first author's name. If there's another author, an editor, or a translator, those go in the regular first name, last name order. The only reason the first author goes last name, first name is so you can find it easily. That's absolutely the only reason. So there's your sample works cited page. Okay, other places to do research. You can, as a Hudson student, go to St. Peter's University, and they have very good resources there, as well as NJCU right down the street. One of the best places to do research that's nearby, and you can't find anywhere better for 100 miles, is the New York Public Library. The main branch is on 42nd Street and 5th Avenue. You can do some research online, but really to get the best sources, you have to show up. You cannot check anything out of that library. You will have visiting privileges as a visiting scholar, which you all are. Bring your state ID and your Hudson County ID and go in and spend the day doing research. They have millions of sources, and actually most of their books are kept underneath Bryant Park right next door. So you will do your searching on the computer when you get there. The librarians can help you. They'll bring you your sources and you sit right there. You could bring your laptop with you in the Rose Reading Room and have a great time doing research. I highly recommend that place. You can also go to Jersey City Public Libraries or a public library in your town. So other libraries are also a great resource. In addition, I recommend interviews, documentaries, lectures, films, and even songs. You might interview someone who's an expert on the topic. You can find documentaries on PBS or other places. And lectures I'm going to talk about in two places. One is iTunes University, has many lectures that are free, and these are by professors at places like Columbia and Harvard. I have used extensively lectures from a professor at UC Davis that have been very helpful to me. So these are also great resources that I think a lot of students don't think about. Other databases that can be extremely useful, one is the Library of Congress. I've done research at the Library of Congress, and they have resources going back from the founding of the country to the present day, and many primary resources. Many of those you can find online, and the link is there. There are other university websites that offer free access. Yale and Fordham are two, and you can access those through their websites. A MOOC is a massive open online course, and MOOCs can be useful. You're just interested in a topic and you want to find out more about it. You could take a free course. There could be anywhere from 10 to 1,000 people enrolled in the course. You do not get college credit for it, but you can learn all about whatever subject you're interested in, from the stars to salmon and everything in between. So I recommend these. Coursera, Udacity, edX are some of the ones. This link will lead us to the source for Professor Morton at UC Davis speaking on Blake. So a MOOC is also a very good source. You could take the whole MOOC, or you could just listen to the lectures that apply to specifically what your research interest is. And finally, but this might not be finally, this might be earlier on, ask your professor. Your professor might know of other sources that you can look at. You can also, at this point, after you've done the academic search, do a Google search and find out who are the experts, who are the professors, who are the authors who have written on this subject, and try and talk to them, interview them, email them, try and go right to the best source of information that you can find. And as you're doing your research, one of the best places to look, which students often don't think about, is the sources for your source. So you have an article, read down all the way to the bottom of the article and look at all the sources they have used. That is an excellent source of information. So I hope now you have a better idea of how you can start your research, and I believe using the library databases is the best place to start, but also how extensive your research can be. And time and finances permitting, I also encourage you to think about visiting places where the events have taken place that relates to your research. I have found that extremely helpful in my own research, visiting places like plantations in South Carolina. So again, there are many places right across the river in Manhattan, many places nearby. So if that's relevant and applies to you and you can do it, I also recommend actually visiting various locations. I hope this was helpful, and have a great time doing your research. Thank you.